Hey, I'm back, everyone, and guess what happened to me? Yeah, I got COVID for Christmas, and I shared that on my Hive blockchain. And that's why, even though I told you I was going to make good content during my week off, instead I was in bed resting. It was pretty mild for me and my family. We got lucky. It's probably the new variant they say that isn't that serious, and none of us had to go into the hospital get on any other medicine other than a tiny bit of NyQuil to help you sleep and a little bit of fever reducers to keep you comfortable. And the kids, they if they had it, you'd have to trick me, even though I know one of them probably did, because they were nonstop running around throughout the house and just not tired and completely fine. We're currently in our second week of kind of quarantine now, so this week I should be able to do a little bit more videos, except for the fact that my wife will be working remotely and I'll be taking care of the kids, so we'll see how that all goes. Now every week I like to do a Splinterlands video. If you watch it and give us some feedback on the Hive post, you get your name on the wheel and we do a spin and somebody wins 1,000 DEC. The value of that DEC changes pretty wildly since when I first started doing this, and it was like 70 or 80 cents to where at one point it was about 10 to $10, and now I think it's around like $4 or so. Congratulations, zero. And that's something we're going to talk about a little bit in this week's post is the crystals and where their value is at and where they are probably heading and things like that. I actually should probably bring up tribal decks really quick. Tribal decks, for anybody that doesn't use it, is the one they do a little bit better at taking care of when it comes to the Hive engine front ends. DEC. Yeah, that's about $4.60 right now. So we're still at a 4x over the original peg of the dark energy crystal in the store, which is 0.001. If this was a 1, this is currently a 4.6, so a 4.6 above. And when it was 0.001, that's when we were 10 times past the in-store peg. Now, obviously, we'll go ahead and talk about this now. The price has been trending down, and I believe in what we've been hearing, this will continue to trend down for a little bit. I'll go ahead and throw that in the night mode so I'm a little less blurry. And it's really because dark energy crystals, in my opinion, they don't feel a lot of need to protect the value at this level. In my opinion, and the team will probably not admit to this, the token being at this price and the higher prices it was at when the airdrop first started were never fully justified, and it was kind of a FOMO thing, and they'd like it to come back down into a closer to the peg or at the peg, so that it works like how it's designed within the game, because the token being so expensive made a lot of the burn mechanisms look really, really expensive, like leveling up your guilds and things like that. And I don't think they want dark energy crystals to be looked at as some super high price asset, because it is supposed to be sunk into a lot of different places in the game, and we're going to talk about that as we go over some of the different stuff that we found out during the AMA and during the SPS post from a few days ago, and then we're just going to revisit the Chaos Legion sale in this post. So we're going to start off with the Town Hall. So the most recent one, I always like to cover these, go through this a little bit and give you my take on what was going on. It was really a lot of this is what we did this year, look at how much we grew. And if you haven't took a minute and you have maybe an hour to watch the first half of this, or just to sit back and think, if you've been in this for the whole year like I was, I mean, even though we've come back from the peak values of some of these things, we're still in a marketplace that is just far, far higher than it was when the year started. And we're heading now into the next part of the game where we should see this possibly go from a game of however many players we have today to maybe 2 to 3 times that amount of player in the future. And there's some good things and some bad things going on there. And it depends really who you are, whether or not it looks really good. And I think that's most of the players. And for some of the people like me who have bigger accounts, maybe looks like we're not heading right back up to those high card evaluations. So a lot of it was just them, talking about their achievements. Each team member took a minute to go ahead and talk about some things. There was nothing really, really exciting in here. Now, it was hidden right about here at the 1 hour 37 minute mark, because I was coming in here and trying to double check it. They didn't really talk too much about the general pre-order sale. I can tell you my group, we finished up and we bought 57,000 packs. That's really, really cool for the CAD account holders and the CAD token, everyone who understands about those. I think I'm now going to be doing a video fully about what CAD token is and or at least touch base on it a little bit deeper here pretty soon, because I really didn't want anybody who didn't look into the sale to come in and scoop those tokens up before people understood what they were worth. But they are hopefully going to be worth a pretty good amount of SPS by the time we're done with this. The question is, do you believe in SPS? Is it going to keep trending down, or will it become a 1 to 3? I have it at around a $1 to $3 token in the future. It's sitting around 20 cents right now and trending down. But I did know that during the airdrop we'd always be trending down. So we're still in where I think that token should be. But that they sold around 2 million packs in that pre-order completely. And aggros seem to think that maybe there was another 1 million packs somewhere coming. So how many packs are we going to be at sold before the general sale actually starts on the 17th? So if you go to the shop page, we're currently at 1.5 million packs that have been bought. If all the vouchers that get dropped out here during the last couple days of the boosted vouchers in the marketplace on the vouchers all get bought up, and people do decide to buy the packs in this phase 2 to get them credit towards the second and third airdrop cards that we reviewed in the last video, well, then you're going to see this tick up to close to 2 million packs sold. So then we'll be at 2 million packs sold. Then this 9 days will come to an end, and that'll happen on the 12th. And then on the 17th, 5 days later, the general sale will start, and we'll be at these 2 million packs roughly sold. The 2 million that he took in the general pre-order of the 6 million that were available, about 2 million, that puts us at 4 million. And in the AMA, aggro said maybe an additional 1 million. I don't know where that's coming from. I don't know if that's something the Splinterlands team is purchasing, or if they have another very big buyer who he's allowing to come in at a later time. And if you were buying 1 million packs at this point and he wanted to let you come buy them, I would understand that. But it sounded like he thought that day one, pull the trigger, we're going to be at 5 million packs sold. And then you're going to be at the mercy of the marketplace. And we're going to see with the 10 million packs that'll be left, roughly, of the 15 million packs that they put on sale, how quickly those will sell out. And I do not think they are going to sell out in the first day anymore. I could be wrong. He did mention that some of the whales didn't want to have to go through putting together their funds now, and we're going to just go ahead and buy them during the general sale. So you could see a couple very big buys on the first day, maybe push us up to about 20 to about 7 or 8 million packs sold to 9 million packs. I think that's about as far as we're going to get on the first day. Caveat, I could be wrong. There could be some mega whales out there who are just going to come in and know that they could buy all of these $5 packs and pretty much resell them for $10 if they were to buy them all up. And I do think they could do that. If you had the funds to come in and buy every single pack, then you put them for sale on tribal decks at $10, and you became the person selling Splinterlands packs for this entire set for the foreseeable future, you would pretty quickly make make a 1 at 1.5x on your money. And maybe not super quickly, but it would happen eventually. People would buy those all for $10. I don't know if there is somebody out there that's thinking about doing that, but if there's not, then I think we'll hit about 9 million. I think it'll be a slowish trug up to take a few months to sell another million or two. But at that point, when you get to 10 or 11 or 12, we start getting near the end of the pre-sale, about 60 to 75% of the sale being over. And then you're going to see it speed up, and you're going to see people like me coming in and being like, maybe I'll buy an extra 500 packs or so just to hold, because they do tend to go up to anywhere from double to triple to 10 times the valuation once the pack sale is over. I know I've been selling some untamed packs to buy Chaos Legion packs, and I've been getting between $55 and $60 per pack. I know they were higher than that at one point, but that's just that's when I decided to go ahead and sell a few of those. That kind of goes over a little bit of the general pre-sale and where that's going to be going. That kind of came from the town hall, but there wasn't a lot of very, very interesting things in this town hall, other than, the one big thing is, as Chaos Legion sale comes out and everything gets going in the middle of July, it's basically going to be all hands on deck for building land. We did get something that was kind of interesting brought up here, and I'll go ahead and show you this map, and I'll have a link to this post if you want to check it out. But this is the new land area of Pretoria, and basically each one of these little triangles is a region of land. So there's 1,000 lands in each one of these. So now you see one of the things that they changed their mind of is that land is going to be more than just the land that we have that produces our things. So like I'm going to have my 200 lands that I have if I decide to keep both my tracks. I'm going to have my 2 keeps because each track is guaranteed to keep. If I get super lucky, I'll pull a castle, but I've only got a 1 in 10 chance of that actually happening. Well, 2 in 10, because I have 2 tracks if I go ahead and keep them both. I don't know if my tracks will be in the same one of these, and I also don't know if I would want that. To be honest, if different areas are better at producing different things, I probably want like one in the mountains and one in the plains, or one where it's snowy and one where it's not, and spread out my tracks. But they haven't really told us whether or not we'll get to pick that. But we should see. But the interesting thing here to see is there's all these open areas between these areas they've carved out to be our land. And it sounds like there's going to be areas in here that are going to be some kind of guild versus guild or player versus player battle zones to possess additional lands. So that's something that's kind of interesting for those of you who do not own any land, and if you don't plan on spending the money to get a few parcels of land, well, then you could still have something to do out here in the Splinterlands. And they did say that they are going to try to make this land expansion have things for the non-landowners to do, whether it's just be hired to move around resources from one area to another, or if it's to with your guild to go out and compete and fight over one of the open PvP lands. None of this we know, but it should be interesting to see what comes out as we get into the early part of the next year, and we get past the actual sale of the new cards. The other thing that was interesting this last week is they did launch the SPS roadmap for 2022. This, I guess, did not have enough in it to go ahead and drive the price up, as we've headed down a little bit since then, but it was stuff that we saw that was pretty cool. In general, they have a summary down here. We're just going to touch base on this really quick, but it's basically that the SPS validator nodes and governance voting is coming. So when validator nodes come out, they're going to work the way they do in the Hive blockchain for who gets paid for being a validator. So if you're going to spend the money to get one of the servers up and running, while it's not going to be necessarily going to have to be the best server, and you're going to host it in a cloud environment, and you want to be able to have your server earning you SPS for you going ahead and running it, well, then you need to have enough of the big SPS holders like myself and people who have even more than me vote for your node. And so those players, those people are incentivized to possibly run a node. Like, because I have a decent stake and maybe I could get some of the other big stakeholders to vote for my node, maybe I'll go ahead and run a node. I don't know for sure. We have to wait until the software comes out and I get an idea of the cost of a node. I think it would be pretty fun to do, and I'm definitely looking into it, but I don't know for sure whether or not I want to spend that money and get one up and running, but it's on the table for me. But when that comes out, it's going to be a reason why people might go ahead and buy a little bit more SPS and stake it so they can get a bigger vote. The other thing is, once the Splinterlands feedback site becomes stake-based voting, and those votes will start to drive a lot more of what the team is working on and what they're going to fix, we're going to see the big stakeholders go and vote. I know right now I don't really go and vote because I'm just, this is silly. It's just one vote. Maybe I'll go ahead and check it out and push it, but it's like, even though I have 180,000 SPS staked, which to me is a good amount, to others it's either a lot, and to some it's a little. It really depends on where you are in the stratosphere of the different holders, but I would like that stake to actually count so that my vote counts for 180,000 votes instead of just my one vote. That's why I look at it as something kind of silly. Right now, if you don't have any SPS and you're not staking it and you want some way to influence a team, that site's great for you because everybody's vote is equal currently. One of the big things they to help with the value of SPS in this is they said that the Rift Watcher pack sale will be exclusively done in SPS, and this SPS will not be burned but instead go to the foundation, and then the SPS holders can decide what to do with that. They can sell it and distribute the funds like an HBD or something else to SPS holders. They can distribute the SPS tokens out to SPS token holders, or they can go ahead, stakers I mean, or they can burn it. They can decide to burn it, but we'll get to have a governance vote on what we can do with that. That's another thing they talk about, that the overall foundation is going to be set up that'll start to build up SPS tokens. And because it has a capped supply, if we do burn them, we will be lowering the supply of the governance token. So that's an interesting thing to see if this people and the major holders decide that they want to do. They did say that the land expansion is going to be heavily reliant on SPS staking. So for your lands to maybe reach the top levels of production, you're going to have a certain amount of SPS staked. We'll see if I have enough or not. These are some of the things I need to find out before I decide, if I want to keep all my land or rent some of my land out. It's going to be fun to get into all of this, hopefully this next year. But it is good to know that if that Aslan gets up and going, you might have some users who weren't staking SPS have to go ahead and get some and decide to start staking it in the future. They also talked about private sale and airdrop distributions. They're going to be ending that distribution soon, so they thought that maybe if those people were driving the price down a little bit, that we might see that come to an end. Obviously, with the airdrop to players and holders is still going to be going on for quite a while based on our collections, but in the next couple of months, that's how much everybody's getting is going to be changing a lot as our collection powers go up or down, depending on if you're somebody who's acquiring more cards, or other things like titles and things like that to try to push your amount of the SPS airdrop up more to you. And then we also have, one of the things they also said about land, though, because the Rift Watchers is going to be done as an SPS sale, which it used to be DEC sales for those sets, and then the DEC would be burned. That there is going to be some sinks to burn DEC in land. So maybe upgrading the buildings will take DEC and some of those other things to try to protect the price of DEC a little bit. That's the only real talking they did about trying to help support the price of DEC, which is one of the reasons why I've never been a big holder of just lots of DEC. I've always looked at it as a token you buy to use to upgrade a building, or you buy to use to buy a Rift Watcher pack. You don't buy to hold, because it's a farmable token for everybody playing the game, and the more it's worth, the more people get of it. So it's kind of an interesting algorithmic coin like that. So it's actually built to stay down at around the peg, and it's been, people have been hoarding it so much that it fought back about that, but it's starting to get pushed back down towards that peg number. So it's going to be an interesting thing to see if DEC can hold anywhere near where it is today. I don't think it can. I think it'll still head down, which is why I don't really hold very much at all. And I can't give you investment advice, but I can tell you what I'm doing. They talk about obviously how to get SPS, and then we already touched base on the Chaos Legion pre-sale and where it's at. Shout out to Marcus and the group and everyone who was involved in our group purchase. I know it was a little bit hectic, and people with Digital Wisdom, thank you very much for sticking with us and getting that big buy-in. He bought a lot. To see that account go from 17,000 in the pre-sale to 56,000 in the pre-order for the next sale, it's going to be a fun little experiment that we're all doing together. All right, everybody, I hope you had a good day, and if you hung out for the whole video, thank you very much. I'll be doing some stuff soon on some of the other projects I'm involved in. Still behind Fightland cards, and I am still picking up my apes from the Binance Smart Chain. Gonna do another video on them. I still think that project will come around. It's just hitting a little bit slower than some people would like. Oh, and my Rebel bots on ETH, as I haven't talked about, are starting to catch a lot of steam. I actually have 5 of those Rebel bots, and we'll be seeing where that goes. So thanks, everybody. Bye.